following week, as usual, was all correct. So that's fine. Thanks for just a little misunderstanding. Thanks, Hung.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I thought it was like that.
ท่านอาจารย์ค่ะท่านอาจารย์นะ
Swadika, everyone.
Sawadika, Ajahn.
อาจารย์ค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับท่านอาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
Recording in progress.
So we can begin. Does anyone have anything they would like to start with? I thought, Hung, it was a good topic at the towards the end of the Vietnamese discussion when the new friend being said she wanted to understand the conditions for sati to arise. And I thought about Nina, who usually joins this discussion, who'd asked about sati before. And it's not so easy or simple to ask. People would just like a simple answer about, oh, what can be done for sati to arise? But usually behind the question, there's the idea of what can I do or how can I make sati arise? And as Ajahn stressed, if there's the question, if there's the idea, tell me about sati and I will have more sati, of course it's quite wrong because it's all for me. And as she stressed, there has to be more understanding about what it is, the characteristic, the function, when it arises, and there has to be the understanding to getting closer and closer to understanding its nature. Otherwise, if one just wants to know the story, it's forgotten instantly. It doesn't help at all. So it was, I thought, a good topic. Did you have any comments?
Yes, thank you, Sarah. And we think that we understand it. We got the meaning of the word only. Yes, but it's characteristic of the reality. It seems it means that it's not appear yet. And we just as we study from moment to moment, so we understand that which moment have a sati or without sati is that what we can learn from the listening to the Dhamma discussion and learn from the book. But it seems that very little, I mean that very little in daily life, whatever we consider about the teachings of the Buddha only. And the more we listen to the Dhamma discussion, the more we understand that we know very little about any reality like seeing now and hearing now. And for example, in the Thai discussion last week, I heard about the kana sanya and atta sanya, and it makes me a little bit confused about it. I'd like to hear about this more. So could you please, Thanachan and you both can explain for me about this more? Thank you very much.
Yes, as you say, most of the time there's really very little understanding. We think we have an idea what sati is, but we mix up a conventional idea of what it is or what we've been taught by other teachers or in the meditation center, or with an idea of I doing something or being aware, and without understanding of different realities, then it cannot be the sati of the path that develops. So the understanding is key. And with sanya, it's the same. We know there is sanya arising at each moment. And usually there is atta sanya because So
Yes.
immediately after seeing or hearing, there is marking something there, someone there, an idea of something. So only when it is the sanya that arises with understanding, which understands the truth, can it be anatta sanya, the marking, the Dhamma as it is, the remembering the Dhamma as it is. And only when that sanya develops, anatta sanya develops, can it be the condition, can it be tira sanya as a condition for sati of the path to develop. But I'm sure Ajahn will be very glad to elaborate further on Atasanya and Atasanya and all these points.
Thank you,
Just
Sarah.
one question. Hang, did you say kanasanya?
Yes, Kanasanya is that
That's the momentary.
remember of the group of the, as my understanding
Kana.
is yeah,
Kana.
Kana
Momentary.
as a group. Yeah,
Ah, okay.
remember and remarking the object as a group.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it for Achan. She can talk
Yes.
more on it. Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hang.
Is it now Kana Sanya?
Yes, almost every moment, Ajahn, except the moment of seeing, hearing, and touching.
Really?
Yes.
See, it's not Kana Sanya. Seeing.
Because we see at the moment of we see the telephone already, Tanajan.
Okay.
So it's the Kanasanya.
Now, without understanding that the seeing is the chief of experiencing, and there are other realities together. So the seeing is taken for I see. So it is kanasanya of that which is there, arising, experiencing, performing its function by way of kana, something.
Something already.
Yeah.
So can you understand that Kanasanya is Attasanya?
Certainly.
Yeah. Thank you, Tanajan.
But at the sanya is wrong understanding. But when it has been eradicated, no more wrong understanding. But no one can change the way kanasanya is. It's something. A shoe, a plate. Is it kanasanya? They are
Yes.
something. So at this moment, looking at something, Punhang is that it's kanasanya of seeing another thing. Yeah.
Achan, would an example be like this morning I was looking out the window at a beautiful tree and I was thinking about momentary. We don't see movement, we just see object, but that looking at the tree, knowing it's a tree, is that kanasanya?
Is there a tree? Is there a tree? Is there anything?
Well, there's a visible object.
But it's not there to be known that it's only visible object. It's a tree.
It's a tree, yeah.
Something is seen.
Something is seen, yes.
Yeah, not just one dot of seeing and that which appears. So we learn Dhamma in daily life because Dhamma, only Dhamma is there, no matter dog or cat or what tree or whatever. They're all Dhamma. It's different Dhammas. It's different one. But the idea are there about something together, unknown, that it's taken to be that because of connection. Nobody can change the connection, yeah. Otherwise, who will know that it's a plate, that it's a fork, that it's a spoon? But wrong understanding. It's not ditti, Sanya. See? Sanya Vipalasa, Titi Vipalasa, Chitta Vipalasa. See? Even the Sotapanna still have Sanya Vipalasa, right?
Yes.
But no Titi Vipalasa. So what is there in daily life is not in the book, but each word which we have read concerned about what is there in life, daily life, every moment. So Sati-Dhamma is understand what is there. For example, a tree. Sanya Vipalasa, Chitta Vipalasa, Akusala Chitta. But anyone who understands the truth, understand the nature that what is there is something, it's not as it is appearing. It appears to be a tree because the shape and form, but there is right understanding about it. Did Buddha see Ananda? See Kanasanya?
But without wrong understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Chitta experiences that Kanasanya with understanding, no more ignorance.
So, Kanasanya can arise with ignorance and without ignorance, right?
Kanasanya arises with akusala.
Only arise with akusala.
When there's no understanding of the truth. But when there is the understanding of the truth, it is sanya, which remember what is there together as something, someone, Ananda, Sariputta, see is there, but without wrong understanding, without any attachments or any akusala. So without kanasanya, can it be known?
Cannot.
So understanding can understand kanasanya and all kinds of sanya. But the chitta which experience that moment is kusala, with ignorance or without ignorance. That's why sanya is sanya. No one can change sanya. And chitta which experiences sanya depends on what degree of understanding. It does mean that there's no kanasanya anymore. But the chitta which experiences it with kiriya chitta for arahata.
Yeah.
And for Sotapanna and for Sakadagami, different degrees of understanding. But the truth is that what is sanya, marks and remember, what is kana, that which are there together, to know, to make it known as something, but with understanding, not with akusala. It does mean that no kanasanya anymore after become enlightened. But the chitta which experience kanasanya is so great understanding or depends on conditions. So now, what experience the kana sanya of that which appears as something, attachment or aversion? Usually, as long as there's the ignorance and all kinds of akusala.
I
And
think
question, Ajahn, when there's kusala jitta but without panya, is the sanya associated with that jitta?
When we
Kana
talk
sanya?
about sanya, we don't talk about other things, but we talk about the reality which marks and remember. Is that right? It arises with each citta. Each citta is different. When it arises with understanding, it understands what is taken for kanasanya is only one reality arising and the other reality arising together. It depends on whether it is sanya of seeing, or sanya of hearing, or sanya of eye, atta sanya, or sanya of what. If there's no kanasanya at all, can there be any moment in life to live after enlightenment? Because sanya is a reality. Nobody can change the moment when it's there. And it arises with its citta. What is seen after enlightenment, that which is seen, no doubt about the nature of that, but understanding kanasanya there as something is still there. But no wrong with feel and no kilesa. To like it, to dislike it, as usual, because that is akusala. So if we think that sanya is sanya akusala only, what about becoming arhata? No more sanya. So it does not, by that way, it does not mark and remember what is seen as something at all. But usually in life, people have sanya with ignorance and attachment.
so. Ajahn, are you saying that kanasanya arises even for the arahat?
Yes, but no position at that moment at all. No kilesa.
No wrong view. No galesa. Yes.
Otherwise, how can there be the mind process after the sense though? But the javana is kiriya.
Yes.
Well, I think we've said before that for the arahat there still has to be the conceptualizing of things like the robes, the bowl, the dwelling, the other person, etc. Even though there is no wrong view about the true nature of present moment reality. But in order to live in samsara, there has to be the conceptualizing as there is now, people and things. Otherwise, life would just be bare moments of visible object or sound, and it wouldn't have any meaning.
I was just thinking you'd bump into the door.
Yeah.
Again back to go on. You finish.
I was going to say the arahat still has to have concepts of distance and space and time.
Yes.
And place.
Yeah.
And person.
Yes.
Yeah. So that may be what the kana sanya refers to. I don't know, but it's just the same as for us at this moment, except in that respect. In one respect, it's the same as for us now, but in other respects, it's quite different because there is no underlying wrong view as to the true nature of the present moment reality.
But you know, back to that, looking at this morning at the tree moving and a beautiful tree, and that kana sanya tells me it's a tree, but that's many, that's hundreds of jittas, isn't it? Many moments of jitta seeing the object, because one jitta would not see that one object. One jitta would just see one color in one galapa. So I just think that is, it's incredible. It's because the development of panya has to take a long time, I would think, because you know, no amount of staring out there this morning and thinking about the Dhamma I've learned, and then going back to, oh, isn't it a beautiful tree? So there were many moments of everything, which I think is quite normal.
Yes, countless visible objects seen in countless kalapas with countless mind or processes in between, countless moments of kana sanya, almost all with lobha and moha, countless moments of moha, and so much clinging. Yes, and that's just natural. It's daily life.
Yes, and that's the
lots and
of
lots of atasanya, taking it for something. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes. So thank you.
And
sorry, I just.
And does Arahata have also jhana, vipajita, mahakiriya, jhana, vipajita?
Certainly, Ajahn.
Without panya.
I don't understand the yana. What is it? I didn't understand.
Panya.
That's panya. Yes.
Panya, without panya. So does the Arahat have those Giriyajitas without, that for us are Gusala or Agusala, but for the Arahat are Kiriya? Does he have those, he or she have those without panya?
Yes, I guess so. Yes, because it wouldn't have panya every moment. Okay, thank you.
Tana Jan Cup, I was just, if I can ask a question here, that word kana, because I'm confused between the Thai pronunciation a little bit and the Pali. So that word you would translate as momentary. Is that correct, Tana Jan Cup? Kana would be translated. How would you translate that Pali word kana? I'm not too sure how, if it's coming us across as Thai or the Thai pronunciation, which I presume it is. Would you translate that as momentary, sanya?
Every day, not only sanya. Kana
yes, that's true. But I'm wanting to understand the word kana.
Can I make a suggestion, Sundara? I think it might be Gana, starting with a G.
Well, that's what I was.
G-A-N with a dot under A.
Oh, that one. Okay. Yes, thanks. I appreciate that, Jonathan. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Not kana, not momentary.
Okay, that's where I was confused. So thank you, Sundara. That's most helpful. Thank you. And John. So the GANA is the group, correct?
No,
I don't think so.
The other way around.
The translation given in the Buddhadatta dictionary for that word is a gang, crowd, sect, chapter of monks.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's got jnana also under that same entry, wisdom, insight. I don't know why that, but anyway. So crowd or group.
So that's the GANA.
That's the GANA,
Okay.
but
Right.
whether that's the one or not, I don't really know. I thought also of guna, but
No, I don't think it's
no.
guna. That's quality. That'd be slightly different.
What's the word for compactness in
Compact, Pali.
compactness in continuity and compactness?
Well, compact. I'm not sure of that, Jonathan.
Okay.
I can have to think about it. But the other word, what was the other English word you're asking after there? Excuse me?
Me?
Yeah, you're asking. Oh, continuity. That'd be
and compactness.
Santity, or possibly santity. That's continuity or flux. But I think that might be slightly different. But
yes,
anyway,
but I think even.
I'll look into it. Thank you so much anyway for your help.
Is it now?
I always appreciate your reminders, Tana Jankup. They're very apropos. They're always very appropriate, and sometimes we can get seduced by the stories, which I think is the nature, of course, of ignorance. But so I appreciate always your reminders. Just perhaps to follow on from what was spoken about yesterday in the Vietnamese section at Tanajan, I really appreciate it. There's a couple of things that, and Sarah also brought that up this morning in relationship and what she got out of it. What I really appreciated is I certainly appreciate your comment about meditation, stopping, leaving meditation. I thought that was very, very insightful. The thing that I found very helpful when people were talking about sati is that it's so important to listen and consider carefully so many different facets of Dhamma to enable an appreciation of any one particular Dhamma. It's not like, I thought you explained this very well, that when people ask, what is the characteristic of sati, or how can I develop sati? And it's an understandable question because it's fundamental to the development of satipatthana in many ways. They're intimately bound up. Well, of course, that's sati and panya, but I thought I took your point from what was being spoken about yesterday, that it's so valuable to hear so many other aspects of Dhamma, to consider all the different aspects of Dhamma very carefully. And that will enable a better understanding of mental factors like sati or whatever other ones there are. That they're very, very subtle. They're not easily grasped by just intellectual understanding. And as has been alluded to this morning in some extent, that it's so easy for people to just create a story about that Dhamma, that particular Dhamma sati, and not being particularly helpful. And what you often remind us about is the present reality, so that there can be a better grasp of whatever reality arise, be it sati or sound or whatever. So I thought it was a particularly helpful discussion yesterday, with the kind of how important it is to consider each Dhamma carefully. And then there will be a much better understanding of the reality that appears, whether that be sati or anything else. But that is just part of the journey of understanding Dhamma, that we need to consider things very carefully. So I really appreciated that, Tana Jan, your reminder just a moment ago. So we're off, as we so easily can be swept away by the story. And your description of what sati is, and that it can be, even though you can talk about it intellectually, it cannot be spoken about directly. That has to be an understanding that's developed very gradually over time. Thank you, Tana-chan.
And here's another candidate for the term we're looking for, Ghana, thick, solid, dense, compact.
Yes, I just put a note that the Ghana is the resolution of the compact. And I think this is the same word that we've been discussing because Kunju said Ghana Sanya, it's the same spelling. So I think it's the same. So what we refer to as the taking as the whole, the on the compact, which is condition for wrong understanding Ghana. So it's the same Ghana Sanya, not to be confused with momentary at all, which is Kana. This is Ghana, with a GH, Ghana Sanya.
But in the Thai spelling, it is K, not G.
That's right.
That's the
right.
pronunciation, yes, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
as
It's
Jill
actually-
put, it's actually GHAN, Ghana Sanya.
It's
in
actually
the
Ghana.
Pali.
Ghana. It's actually
Ghana.
Ghana Sanya, not yeah. So it's easy to get confused sometimes. Totally understandable.
Because in Thai they mispronounce the Pali.
Well, I don't know
GH
about that so
sound.
much. It's just that I understand what happened. I did a bit of digging into this one time as to how come certain things are pronounced certain ways. That apparently there was a sound shift a few hundred years ago. This is what one idea that was put forward. It's reasonable, but we know when Tanajan talks about different things that when she may pronounce it like kana, we can know that there's probably a G involved more than often. But then when there's a GH, which is another separate letter in Pali, but they're often pronounced the same in Thai, it can lead to some confusion into understanding. So I from what I'm picking up now, it is definitely the GH, the G sound rather than the K sound. So anyway, that's how it seems.
I have another comment, if that's okay to move on. And it's regarding the talk that was on Saturday evening, and the word mind was used quite a bit because Achan was asking the newcomer, what is mind? And it got me thinking also, because automatically in English, when you hear the word mind, you start thinking about all the things that the mind does, all the thinking, all the things that go wrong with the mind, blah, blah, blah. But Achan, when you use the word mind on Saturday afternoon, you were referring to consciousness, no?
It's not my language. English is not my language. In Thai, but the term mind for everyone who has no understanding of the truth of the teaching at all, what does it mean? That's why we have to understand even the word mind on the aspect that what we are talking about is by what meaning of mind. For example,
yeah, go on, Achan.
Yeah, is there mind now?
Yes.
What is it?
Well, I'm understanding it's just moments of consciousness. Otherwise, it's not a reality.
Excuse me. I ask someone who has no understanding of Dhamma at all.
Right.
So when they use the mind, what do they understand?
Well, mind is thinking. Generally, it's thought of as thinking. And of course, as we know, thinking can think about anything. And then in some cases, in some of the medical knowledge, mind can be very disturbed. So there's distortions of mind, but we won't go there. But thinking, to me, if somebody's asked what is mind, well, a lot of people will say what's on your mind, and then people will talk about what they're thinking about.
And is seeing mind?
Seeing is not mind in the terminology of the mind I've just spoken about, seeing as something different.
That's why if you use the word mind for chitta, is it perfect understanding?
Well, for somebody who's well developed would know that citta and mind are similar, no?
No matter in what language, it's beyond considering by oneself without careful understanding the word. That's why we keep on the Pali word. Because citta and cetasika, who knows? They just know a little bit about what they are saying. Mind, it seems like everyone understands, but in truth, it's not the understanding of reality of what we said at all. That's why we can say from birth what we talk or what we say, no understanding of the truth. Just take it for granted, the meaning of it, like everyone who born to be that person who use that language, understand, but not at Dhamma at all, not as Dhamma at all. That's why to tell someone that Chitta is the mind, or to take the mind for Chitta, is that enough?
No, they probably walk away from you.
That's why if they would like to understand the nature, the truth of this moment, so Dhamma is not just the teaching of the Buddha, but the teaching of the Buddha means that the enlightened one who understand what is there no, at any moment, right now, what is there is so true. No one thought about it at all. But that is what to be learned to understand the truth. The truth is not far away at all. It's now, right now, from moment to moment. So, in order to understand the truth, not just the meaning of the word, it has to be a moment of attention to the truth when each word of the Buddha is discussed or talked about, to have clear understanding that in truth we live in the world of darkness, of ignorance, from life to life. So how subtle, how difficult it is to understand the nature of that which is now appearing or is there experiencing, see? That's why learning to understand Dhamma in one's own language, that's the word of the Buddha. Because other words we are not familiar enough, cannot condition understanding. But if we try to talk about it when it's there in their own language, there can be the understanding of that because it's there to be proved what we are talking about. For example, seeing right now. See, when we talk about Kanasanya, it's something. Chitta and Chitasika take for seeing. But the truth is much more subtle than that. That's why learn about Dhamma. Learn Dhamma has to be learn what is there right now or any moment. For example, if we talk about sati a lot, no understanding of sati at all. But when we talk about this very moment, we are talking about Dhamma. So what is Dhamma? When it's understood, do you remember now that it's Dhamma? See? So only sati is there, which does not forget about the truth of what is there. So in a day, normal life, without conditions, there cannot be sati to remember hardness as it's just a reality, and so on. That's why it's so deep. Just one word can be conditioned for letting go when there is understanding of the truth of no one. So very gradually it works its way. And this is the first round of Ariyasata. See, much more to learn to realize the truth with attachment. with right understanding, not ignorance.
And I think if it's not heard again and again, it's so easy to just go off on our own track. Like I was thinking of this sati, people who think they're aware have sati regularly because they know it's hard or it's hot, cold. It's quite sad in a way because they're going the wrong way. Because it's usually organized by self when that happens.
Because they think that Dhamma can be understood only by hearing, considering, that's all. But in truth, what is there now is real, it's a Dhamma. So no matter what we heard about, seeing is there now, hearing is there now, attachment is there now, different degrees. And this is the way to realize the truth that now arises and falls away by conditions. So the more we learn to understand the truth, the more subtle it is, deeper and deeper to realize the truth, which is not as it is appearing. Because it appears as kanasanya. See, so even the word sanya, it's not citta, it's not understanding, it's only the reality which marks what is there and remember it, that it's there as something, see. So it is wrong sanya, but nobody can change the kanasanya. The moment when it takes what is there as something by kanasanya.
And that will happen forever, like we were talking before, because the enlightened one sees it like that, but has no wrong view about what is being seen.
That's why no one can have clear understanding by oneself just thinking about it, but to understand more about each word. For example, sanya is sanya. It's not wrong understanding. So no matter who, the one who has no kilesa or the one who full of kilesa, nobody can change kanasanya.
That's a good comment. Very good, Achan.
Tanja, I didn't quite follow that. Please would you say that again? I didn't quite follow that.
No matter the fool or the wise, nobody can change the characteristic of sanya when it's kanasanya and when it's atta sanya. See, different words.
Yeah, I hear that. It's still not clear to me. I'm just like, for example, if I can just go back a bit, Tanajan, the arahata will not have sanya vipalasa. That's impossible. But
Excuse me. What is the meaning of sanya vipalasa?
Well, having a distorted view of reality, having a distorted view in this particular case of sanya, which doesn't. So okay, yeah, that's how I understand sanya vipalasa. It's like it literally means a completely distorted view of the nature of things.
At moment of seeing a cup, is that?
Yes, we can say that sanya vipalasa.
Okay, the sanya is vipalasa, but what about the understanding? It's not.
Well, so if there's the understanding, then that will not be not vipalasa.
Did Buddha see a cup?
Yes, he did. He saw a cup, certainly, because as was being talked about just a moment ago, he thought conventionally, and as we was just being talked about with Payutta, Jnana in one of the low mula chittas there, it has Vipayutta, Jnana Vipayutta. So there will be times when he is just conceptualizing about the different worldly things that comes into his purview.
And so, at moment of seeing a cup, what is that? A cup.
Well, we can say that's atta sanya.
Atta sanya, or
Yes.
sanya vipalasa.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I'd say that's both, isn't it?
Sanya.
Yes. Aren't they all interrelated? Gana sanya, atta sanya, sanya vipalasa.
Right, there are so many different words.
Yes, cup. Did you say, I'm sorry, Tanjan, did you ask why are there so many different words?
Why?
Well, to explain different facets of Dhamma and different situations, to help people appreciate Dhamma at different levels. There are many different reasons
And different meanings.
Yes, I know the different meanings, but can't we say that they are very subtly different and can easily be confused? I certainly imagine that.
So, is it kana sanya or atta sanya?
That's a good question, Tanajan. I would be inclined to say that it's both. They are almost synonymous terms, gana sanya and atta sanya.
Can there be kana sanya without atta sanya?
No, I would say no.
Can there
Yes, different.
That's why I learn carefully about reality as it is. That's why Buddha had a lot of terms for every reality for 45 years, just not letting the other to have wrong understanding.
Well, in that case, Tanajan, how would you differentiate between gana sanya, or as the Thais say, kana sanya, and atta sanya? How would you differentiate them?
Okay, at moment of seeing a cup, what sanya is there?
Atta sanya.
Atta sanya. At moment of taking it as permanent, what is sanya?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, that's what you're probably saying is gana sanya.
The second one is atta sanya. So even for the arahat, seeing a cup, gana sanya, but it's not taken for something there. And in the text, it says the characteristic of anatta doesn't appear because of not penetrating the nature of elements, jnana dhatu, owing to it being concealed by compactness, gana. But when resolving the compact gana viniboga into various elements, the characteristic of no self appears. So it's still gana sanya, but for the arahat, there is the understanding they're just different elements, anatta. So it's still gana sanya, but not atta sanya. So
Okay.
not the same term.
I've got you. Thanks for that, Sarah. Yeah, and thank you, Tanajan. So they are different. Yes, I can appreciate that's more clearer now. So I appreciate you too, Hung, for bringing this point up. It's helped to clarify that aspect of Dhamma for me. And yeah, thanks, Tanajan, Sarah. Just then to further clarify, Tanajan, if I may, then if we're talking about sanya vipalasa and atta sanya, how do we differentiate between those two? Can we clarify those two, please?
Sorry, which two are they, Sundara?
Sanya vipalasa and atasanya.
Because sanya vipalasa, you said it is the perversion of sanya, but it's not. That's not quite right. Whenever sanya is akusala,
Hold it,
whenever
Sarah.
akusala
Hold it. Sarah, can hold a minute. We can certainly say, can't we, that sanya vipalasa is distorted or wrong sanya. It's completely wrong because it's vipalasa.
It's vipalasa because whenever sanya is akusala, it is sanya vipalasa, but not necessarily with wrong view. So even the Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami have sanya vipalasa, but no wrong view. So it's distorted because it's akusala, but it's not atta sanya at those moments. It's only atta sanya when it is accompanied by wrong understanding, taking what is seen or heard for something, someone. So that is atta sanya. It is sanya vipalasa at those moments. But there are other kinds of sanya vipalasa, which are not atta sanya, not accompanied by wrong understanding. Any moment of lobha now, sanya is there, it's sanya vipalasa. Any moment of moha now, sanya vipalasa. Any moment of dosa, sanya vipalasa. Even when no wrong understanding, there cannot be wrong understanding with dosa or just with moha on its own, but it's still sanya vipalasa. Most of the day, sanya vipalasa.
And atasanya?
So atasanya is when it's sanya arising with wrong understanding, taking what is seen or heard for something. So different from Gana Sanya. Gana Sanya, usually when there's...
If I don't jump in, Sarah, just to talk about the difference between atasanya and sanya vipalasa, because it's not entirely clear to me.
So atasanya arises with wrong view when there's a taking of what is seen or heard for something. So as soon as we see someone on the screen, atasanya is there, taking it for someone, our friend, glasses, something that is seen. But for the Sotapanna, no wrong idea of someone or something, but still atasanya, because clinging is there. Still sanya vipalasa, because clinging is there, but no more atasanya.
Okay, all right.
So we cannot say atasanya and sanya vipalasa are the same.
No, yeah, I've got
because
that.
Sanya vipalasa is deeper and deeper. So we say it's distorted, it means akusala, basically.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It can be with or without wrong view, with or without any idea of something or someone. But atasanya is always with the idea of someone or something.
Right, no, that's clear. Thank you.
So is sanya the same as ditti? Same reality or different reality?
Well, yeah, they represent different dhammas, Tanajanka.
That's why we have to consider dhammas so very carefully by different aspects too. They have to conform the truth, no matter by any aspect.
Mm. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you, Tanajan.
So a little moment of wearing away the idea of self gradually, so very subtle. And the path is so very subtle because it's the last one of the Four Noble Truths. It's not the word, but it's the understanding, not samadhi, little by little, of whatever is there, before it can be ultimately eradicated, never to arise again. Is that sanya as well?
It must be there, Tanajan.
The different ones, when it arises with understanding and when it arises with wrong understanding.
Jan, Ghana Sanya cannot arise with understanding. Is that right? Only when there is for harata, when there is kriya chitta without panya.
Understanding is understanding, and sanya is sanya. Understanding now, begin to understand what sanya is. And sanya with understanding gradually develop until it is thira sanya, enough to condition directly, understanding what is there as it has been learned with firm confidence of the truth.
Tira sanya is with panya, right?
Thira
Sanya
is thira sanya. Any sanya cannot be understanding, but it's firm on the truth of what is there now, not self, little by little. It's so firm that it can condition moment of directly understanding with awareness what is there as we have learned. For example, hardness now. When it is thira sanya, not forget about is there to be known. It's not just try to know something which does not appear right now, but it's any moment of what is there instantly by conditions. Anatthaness begin to show little by little the way of anatta. Whatever arises is conditioned, not by expectation, not try to try when we appear to be known and so on. That is not the right, the panya at all, because it's attachment so very, very tricky, just there at the nook of any moment, unknown, until right understanding, understand no matter what is there as it is. And sanya at that moment is not vipallasa because it arises with different degrees of understanding until its proper time. Thira sanya is there, condition sammasati, understanding, just hardness right now, instantly, without any expectation before that. I'll try to pinpoint on this or to be aware of that. That's why it's very great task to eliminate even the wrong understanding, which does not consider carefully about what is there as not self. That's why Buddha taught about different realities, different functions, different characteristics. So when we talk about sanya, we don't talk about right understanding. When we talk about right understanding, it's just about right understanding, not about sanya, but there can be the understanding of sanya or anything. And at moment of understanding, is sanya not vipallasa? Because it begins to understand even theoretically or intellectually that it has to be that way. What is there now has a reason. So the word of the Buddha, of the teachings, is about being mindful of that which is there, which has been arising, has been arisen right now. That which has been arisen. See, sammasati, because it's there appearing to be known. So now seeing is that it has a reason, so it appears, whatever appears has a reason. So what can be known is only that which has been a reason. right there. And this is sanya with panya. See, no vipallasa, try to do something, to go somewhere, to concentrate and try to know. It's all wrong. Not the teachings of the enlightenment. It's not the path he had developed until he became enlightened. So even right now, sanya mass is more so the object of each moment.
And
And
so
if
when
we
it's
talk about it, how can there be the understanding of sanya, whether it is vipassana or not, or after sanya? Please, Kunsara.
I was just going to say, so Tira Sanya is the opposite. So it has to be with understanding. It's the opposite of Sanya Vipallasa. It's a very firm Sanya that develops with awareness and understanding. That's how it conditions the direct awareness. It can't be akusala Sanya. It has to be the firm, right Sanya with sati and understanding.
So there is sanya right now, and we learn to understand sanya as sanya, not anyone. It's a way to very well, a very strong idea clinging to the I or something.
And it was interesting, your question, Alberto, about Ghana, Sanya, and I forget what the question was actually, whether it can be, we know it can be kusala, and we know it can be with or without understanding. Usually it's always with ignorance and attachment now, most of the time. But what about, for example, at a moment of metta? It can be with or without understanding. It can be Ghana Sanya at those moments too. So that's why I think it can be with or without understanding. But usually it's with ignorance or attachment. But moments of metta, no ignorance or attachment.
I was thinking about the Kriya Chitta of the Arahanta, which we know, the Mahakiriya, they don't all have Panya. And,
Right. Like at moments of metta, it may or may not be with panya at those moments.
yeah.
Sobana cheetahs, but not all with panya.
It's so helpful having these little examples like that one you just gave, Sarah, about metta having ganasanya arising, and it's kusala. So yeah, thank you.
But no understanding of the elements of the realities is not self, even though there can be understanding, but not the understanding of dhammas as anatta.
Right, exactly.
But still kusala.
Thank you.
That's like why, as we were discussing about sati, it's so helpful to consider when realities arise, like sanya vipallasa, when it arises, why does the anagami still have sanya vipallasa, and so on, just to get a little closer to understanding what is meant by vipallasa, or what is meant by ghana, or what is meant by sobana, kiriya, chitas, and so on.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Anne, would you like to add any comments today? I saw you unmuted. Maybe you were ready to speak.
No, sorry. I might have been a while back, but I can't even remember what it was about. So no, I don't have anything to add now, Sarah, but thanks for asking. This is all very interesting about the sanya and the various levels and types, and it just shines more and more light on how very, very subtle the Dhamma is, how very subtle.
Totally
Detail.
agree with you. Very much so, yeah.
And Gilly, it's been very deep discussion and lots of Pali terms. Is there anything you would like to bring up today or ask about?
While you were all talking about strange things, I wrote, I seem to need a story, a journey, a history, so that I have food, shelter, company, meaning in my life. And then I said, I guess I am clinging to that story. But it's better to recognize moment to moment and be mindful. It will take a while. So while I was listening to you and getting a little bit of the meaning, that's what came to me. So that story and feeling as if I need that story, perhaps you could speak to that.
I think you've made some very good points. I think there's clinging to the stories again and again, even to the clinging to the story about the meaning of a word, clinging to the story about something that happened in the Buddha's time, clinging to the story about the tree outside the window, which which Azita was talking about. So all day long, clinging to the stories about what's been seen and heard. And we think, oh, I need the story in order to get the food and to do this and that. But the wise, without any wrong view, still find the food and still go out with their alms bowls and still find the shelter, but without the clinging. So, as you say, it's clinging all day to the story, but better to know, better to realize it, because otherwise it's just clinging to the stories with no idea at all, no idea of taking the what is seen and heard for something and someone all day long. And this is what we're talking about. And yes, a little more understanding of the thinking now, the clinging now, what is seen now. What is seen now is not food or trees, just visible objects, but so quickly there's clinging to the stories. So the understanding can begin to develop. And we say conventionally being mindful, and this comes back to what we were discussing about the nature of sati. We think in our conventional language, being mindful means being careful how we pour the tea, careful how we consider this or that. But this is not sati, the sati which arises and is aware of reality for an instant and then gone. And again, not I or you or someone who is mindful. Otherwise, we think, I need to be mindful. But this is what we were talking about, the perversion of sanya, the taking what is seen or heard for something, for someone. So, yes, all the points are quite deep, but I agree with you. There's a lot of clinging to the story, even while we're listening to the Dharma, even now, clinging to the story about the books in your background or the sunrise in my background or the details of someone's face, clinging to the story from first moment of waking up and until going to sleep. Better to know and better to understand that these are just passing dharmas, not my clinging, not my being mindful or unmindful, just different dharmas.
Just a couple of points to there that I'd like to add to what Sarah said. That all these stories, they are what we call concepts, and concepts are not real, but they are the object. They are the object of thinking, and thinking can be the object of understanding. So while it's as humans, we will always conceptualize or create stories, because that's all stories are, different conceptualizations. So that, and some of these stories, in some respects, can be helpful. They're not all totally useless. They enable us to, when we're considering different aspects of Dhamma, intellectually, conceptually, we can get a better appreciation of Dhamma. So the thinking is real, but not the concepts. And I feel that to develop a more keener understanding, it's helpful to be keener in our thinking about what these different dhammas represent. That doesn't mean to say there will be deep levels of understanding. It's like what we might be alluding to is what's called Tanajan often talks about these different levels of the three rounds. The lower round relates to pariyapti. So we can say that it's getting clearer about what the path is, little by little. So all these stories, yes, they're not real, but the thinking is real. The thinking, which has the concepts as object, the thinking is real. And that can be understood as a Dhamma. Thinking is a Dhamma. Thinking is real. Thinking is real, not what we think about. And sometimes even getting that clarified is not always, perhaps not particularly easy. The other thing that I'd like to say too, and you were talking about sati and how we can be misled a little bit, because we sometimes translate that as awareness, but as Tanajan mentioned the other day, and while these translations can be helpful, they can just be a condition for more stories, and they don't. And no word can totally reflect that reality of sati. The reality of sati is very different from, or the reality of awareness, as it's sometimes translated, is not the reality. So it represents the reality, but it's not the reality. And it's only by considering the different dhammas very, very carefully in different perspectives, so to speak. It's like a triangulation, if you like. So we can get a better understanding of Dhamma. It's like, I think that's really valuable to bear in mind. Otherwise, we can think, I understand it now. When we say awareness, because it's been talked about this morning, when people talk about awareness, we talk about it conventionally about, being aware when we cross the road, for example. That while we might use that word awareness, it's nothing to do with the reality of sati. And so it's about listening and attending very carefully to all aspects of the Dhamma, so that there can be a more refined and a more sophisticated appreciation of Dhamma, and not sort of stay at the story level, which is not an easy aspect of Dhamma to move beyond. It's only through careful consideration of many facets of Dhamma that there can be development, but it's a gradual process, and there has to be a lot of patience, I believe. Thank you.
We're getting close to the end of the discussion. Ajahn, would you like to add any comments to what Julie said or any of the other points?
Yes. Are you interested in knowing what is real, what is true, and what is not real, and what is not true?
Yes, I am.
So what is real now, and what is true now?
I'm hearing, yes, well, now I'm remembering just hearing you speak. And I can see the screen. I'm seeing, and sometimes I'm thinking.
Okay, then it's seeing right now, is it? There is seeing.
Yes.
Is it real?
It is. I mean, yes, I see the colors on in front of me.
But what is real? The seeing sees or I see?
The seeing sees.
So no I at all.
Very, very difficult for me to grasp that one, but yes, it is that.
That's why it has to begin from the very beginning to have confidence of the truth, to understand the truth in the world of untruth, taking what is there as permanent and as something. But in truth, what is there cannot be permanent at all. It's gone. And it appears whether it's long or short, stay. But it has to be gone anyway. But in truth, much more than that. At moment of seeing, is there also hearing?
There is, well, not right at the same moment, but there is quite a lot of hearing as well.
That's why we have to understand the truth of each reality. Seeing cannot be hearing at all. At moment of seeing, there is no hearing. But it seems like there is now also both seeing and hearing together. Is that right? Or is wrong?
They're not exactly at the same moment, but
So
they interchange.
yes, but now there is the idea that I see and I hear. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. In the untrue world, right? No understanding of the truth. Take that which is conditioned to arise. No one can make it arise as something all the time. We live in the world of something, atta. But in truth, being before seeing, there's no seeing. Who can make seeing arise? Not at all.
Yeah.
So seeing is conditioned to arise. Without its proper conditions, it cannot arise at all. Without the eye base or the eye sense, without that which impinges on it, there can never be seeing at all in life or any life. Is it true? So seeing is conditioned to arise, just to see, just to see. It cannot think, it cannot hear. It just arises to see and then gone. Is it true?
Yeah.
So we are going to learn to understand the truth of life, the truth of each moment from birth. It's born. The reality which experience object is there. To see when time comes by conditions, to hear when time comes to hear by conditions. That's all from birth to death. Everyone has to die, but no one knows what is it. Is it I die or the reality which is conditioned to arise and then fall away, moment to moment? until it's time not to be this person anymore. Even just in split second. See, all are Dhammas. Dhamma means whatever is real has its characteristic to be that it cannot be other thing, and it's there so very short. For example, seeing cannot arise with hearing. So seeing is so short. We take it for moments of seeing and hearing, not understanding that they are different moments. It cannot be the same moment at all. So we live with the idea, which is not right at all. It's wrong to think that seeing, hearing, everything is permanent. Because now there is seeing, it's still seeing. But in truth, the condition for seeing is so very short. That's why seeing can't stay long at all. It's gone instantly. Being understanding little by little about the truth, to have firm confidence of the truth in life. There are so many different realities. Seeing is not liking, it's not attachment, it's not feeling, it's not memory. Whatever is there without condition, nothing can arise at all. So what is now appearing is conditioned to arise, but so very short and gone unknowingly. So we learn to understand the truth, to let go the clinging, which condition and present moment, sadness, and so on. That's why learn about the truth. That's all. It doesn't hurt at all to understand the truth. And there can be a little more understanding of the truth. Gradually be firm confidence of the truth. The truth is the truth. Because now it's there to be known. Thinking just a moment gone, seeing just a moment gone, hearing just a moment gone. Instantly beginning to understand life, how short it is. Nobody can know the moment of death. When will it be? All by conditions. No, the moment of illness, whatever is there is conditioned. So understand the truth that actually they are only the impermanent reality, different from what now it appears. So having the understanding of the truth is better than not understanding any truth of life at all. So at moment of listening, considering to understand the truth, it is not wasting time at all. It's the most precious moment to begin to understand the truth. If there's I, there must be I all the time. But it's only so very temporary, each moment, by condition arising, no understanding. So there's no one at all, no one else. So it's I, it's me, now sees. But it's gone. Learn to understand the reality that it's real. Remembering is a reality. It cannot do anything. It just arises to remember, to mark what is there, to be remembered later, and so on. From day to day, from moment to moment, they are different kinds of Dhamma, different kind of conditions for every moment. That's all. Because no one at all, no one can do anything, because in truth, realities cannot be anyone. All depends on conditions. No one likes to feel unpleasant, but it's there by conditions. Long or short, depending on conditions. Each moment depends on condition. So begin to understand what is that very moment. It's a reality. Whenever it arises, it has to be only that reality. For example, seeing, no matter yesterday, today, or tomorrow, it only seeing which arises just to see and then gone. Would you like to keep on seeing something you like? Impossible. Because while there is seeing, it seems like there is also thinking and the other kinds of reality. But it depends on whether they are conditioned to arise together or it cannot arise together. For example, unpleasant feeling and pleasant feeling, they cannot arise together. Each different one by different conditions and then gone. No matter it's pleasant or unpleasant, it cannot stay long at all. Just in a very short moment, in split seconds moment. Is that true? For everyone, you can talk to anyone to understand what is true, what is life, what is there, what is birth, what is seeing, what is hearing, and so on, and understand the ultimate truth, not to have ignorance and clinging like before, not understanding any reality which is there at all. This is so very, very subtle to realize the truth, not just to understand it. Because as is there can be moment of realizing the nature of it. See, it's not hearing, it's not thinking. Only different realities arising and falling away so rapidly, which seems that they are together. But in truth, just one moment at a time. Begin to have one's understanding. Is it true? Life is just only in a moment. And without the reality which experience the object, the world cannot appear. Anything cannot appear at all. So all depends on that which arises to experience right now. That is just a reality. It's not attachment, it's not aversion, but it is a reality. Its quality is that whenever it arises, it experiences an object right now, the proof whether it's true or not. Little by little, it let go wrong understanding and ignorance, which condition ill deeds, ill speech, akusla, unwholesome moment, which harms the person who has such moment. It doesn't harm any other one at all. Only the moment is there. It is a cause to condition next moment to be. So we learn about what is the cause in life and what is the result in life. This is the beginning to understand the truth, whether it's true or not. It depends on careful considering to see the truth, to understand the truth, that life is so short. Everyone has to die. So what for to live just to see and then gone? So what is the most precious moment in life? To understand the truth. That is so common. It's the way life is. It's the way each reality arises and gone. What was yesterday? Where was it? Where was that thing yesterday? Even right now, just a moment ago. Where is she a moment ago? Never to arise again at all. And when it's true, it is in Pali, satya. Whatever is real is a reality. So seeing is Dhamma, and it is satya, because no one can change its characteristic. So from now, there can be more understanding of Dhamma. What is it? And what are Dhammas? Without doubt, because it's there. So each moment is Dhamma. and we learn about different kinds of Dhamma, little by little. Is it worthwhile? Is it so precious to live with understanding of what is there as not I at all, not anyone, not anything. All are Dhammas. Whatever is real is a Dhamma. So now it's a Dhamma. And the time is up again. Swadika.
สวัสดีค่ะอา
ท่าน
จา
อาร
ย์
จารย์ค่ะ appreciate your sharing today.
Swadika.
It's very helpful.
อนุโม
Thank
ท
you,
นา
Sarah and